So today we'll discuss immunity. What is immunity? Immunity is the body's nature, the body's natural ability to defend itself against disease. Okay? And disease causing organism. Disease causing organisms called pathogen. Okay? The pathogens like your bacteria, virus, fungi, etc. Okay, so any parasite. So every day our body is exposed to numerous microorganisms. Okay, so but only a few causes disease. So why this happens? Because our immune system protects us. Okay, so the immune system identifies and destroys the foreign substances, that is antigen, before they can harm the body. So our immune system has the ability to recognize the foreign substances. बाहर से कोई सब्सटेंस बॉडी के अंदर आएगा तो वो तुरंत पहचान लेता है एंड डिफेंड्स द बॉडी. सो द फॉरेन सब्सटेंसेस आर कॉल्ड एंटीजन. So the immune system identifies and destroys the foreign substances What are these foreign substances called? They are antigens. Antigens before they can harm the body. Okay. Now this immunity is of two types. One, innate immunity, and other one is acquired immunity. Okay. So what is the major difference between these two? The innate immunity is present since birth. It is present but like our skin, the tears. Okay, so these are present since birth and they are non-specific. Non-specific means what? They will not act against or they will not kill or destroy any specific pathogen. They will act against any pathogen. So they are non-specific. But the acquired immunity, this is acquired during the lifespan or during the life period, you can say, period when body encounters any pathogen. अगर हमको कोई पैथोजन लेटर स्टेज में आफ्टर बर्थ कोई अगर इन्फेक्ट करता है तो उस पर्टिकुलर पैथोजन के अगेंस्ट में ये एक्ट करता है. सो इट इज स्पेसिफिक. वेरी वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. Okay. Now, innate immunity. We'll discuss in details about the innate immunity. this innate immunity is the first line of immunity. So any pathogen has to first face this immunity, then only your acquired immunity will face it. Okay, and it is, as I have said, present from birth. It is non-specific. It doesn't possess memory. It doesn't memory. What is this? See, suppose से मुझे पहली बार चिकन पॉक्स हुआ. Okay, तो when the chicken pox virus infects me, then which immune system is activated? Acquired immune system is activated. उस particular pathogen के against में मेरा immune system काम करने लगा. तो अभी मेरा जो immune system है, जो कि very specific pathogen के against में काम किया, उसको वो याद कर लेगा. और next time when the same pathogen will enter into my body, then immediately the immune system, the acquired immune system will act upon that. Okay, so that is called memory. But this immunity is not having any memory. Okay, now and it shows immediate response. फॉर एग्जाम्पल, आपके आंखों में अगर कुछ गिर जाता है तो तुरंत आंखों से टीयर्स निकलते हैं, पानी निकलते हैं. सो टीयर इज ए टाइप ऑफ इनेट इम्यूनिटी. ठीक है, उसको निकालने के लिए आपके आंखों से ऑटोमेटिकली द टीयर इज रिलीज्ड. सो इट शोज इमीडिएट रेस्पॉन्स एंड इट इज नॉन स्पेसिफिक, एज आई हैव ऑलरेडी सेड. एंड it prevents, the most important, it prevents pathogens from entering the body. Entering the body means what? Entering the blood circulation. Once the pathogen will enter into the blood circulation, then it will make its path to any of the organs. Okay, now this immunity is of different types of innate immunity. Okay, so this innate immunity, it is of different types. There are 4 types of immunity which prevents the organism from entering into the body. The first one is physical barrier. So it prevents the microorganisms to enter into the body. Okay, for example, skin. So it is thick outer layer and prevents the pathogen entry. Okay, similarly, mucous membrane. Next is mucous membrane. So found in respiratory tract, digestive tract, and urinogenital tract. Okay, and this mucus traps the microbes and dust particles. You might have observed that whenever any dust particle or any pathogen enters into your respiratory tract, the mucus is released. जैसे आप नाक नाक से म्यूकस निकलेगा या फिर गले में कफ हो जाएगा. So these are all mucus. So these mucus traps the microbes. The second one is physiological barrier. So what are physiological barrier? It includes the secretion of the body. So body secretions destroy the microorganism. Okay, for example, like example like HCl. HCl is secreted in stomach and kills the microbes. Similarly, saliva contains antibacterial substance. It contains antibacterial substance. What is that? Lysozyme. Okay, and this lysozyme kills the antigen. Similarly, tear, it wash away the microbes, and it also contains lysozymes. Okay, now come to the cellular barrier. The third one is cellular barrier. So cellular barrier includes the certain white blood cells. Okay, destroys the microbes. For example, some important cell I will mention here. The important cells are neutrophil, PMNL, polymorphic, sorry, this is L, polymorphonuclear lymphocyte. Okay, the next is monocyte, next macrophages, and natural killer cells. They are also known as NK cells. Okay, now how do they work? Their function. They may engulf the pathogen, that is phagocytosis, engulf the pathogen, destroy the infected cell, or kill the tumor cell. So here there are three ways by which they play their role. One is they engulf the pathogen. पैथोजन को खा लेंगे, या तो फिर जिस सेल को इन्फेक्ट किया है उसी सेल को डिस्ट्रॉय कर देंगे ताकि वहाँ से आपका पैथोजन रिलीज होके कोई दूसरे सेल को वो अटैक ना करे. देन किल द ट्यूमर सेल. अगर ट्यूमर अगर हुआ है तो ट्यूमर सेल को वो डिस्ट्रॉय कर देता है. देन द थर्ड वन इज fourth one is cytokine barrier. So this is very specific. The virus infected cells produce a protein called interferon. Okay, and this interferon, let me tell its function, prevents viral multiplication, protects nearby healthy cells, and increase antiviral resistance. So the interferon is a protein that is produced against a virus. So when suppose this is a cell which is infected by the virus, then this cell will release interferon, and this interferon will prevent other cells to get infected by the viruses. Okay, so this is all about your innate immunity. Now come to the next part, that is acquired immunity, the second type of immunity. This is also known as adaptive immunity. Okay, now what is this? It develops after birth. It is specific against particular पैथोजन. जैसे मैंने चिकन पॉक्स का आपको एग्जाम्पल दिया. इट पोजेस मेमोरी. कोई भी इन्फेक्शन हो और कोई भी रेस्पॉन्स हो उसको ये मेमोराइज कर लेता है. गिव्स स्ट्रॉन्ग रेस्पॉन्स ड्यूरिंग सेकेंड एक्सपोजर. तो फर्स्ट टाइम जब इन्फेक्शन होगा तब इतना ये स्ट्रॉन्ग रेस्पॉन्स नहीं दिखाता, बट अगर सेकेंड टाइम सेम पैथोजन अगर इन्फेक्ट करेगा तो ये स्ट्रॉन्ग और बहुत जल्दी रेस्पॉन्स दिखाता है. ओके, सो इट इज ऑफ टू टाइप्स. वन इज प्राइमरी रेस्पॉन्स. द रेस्पॉन्स of this type, this immunity is of two types, and secondary response or anamnestic response. Remember this term, anamnestic response. Okay, now what is the difference between these two? So this occurs during first exposure. So पहली बार अगर आपको कोई इन्फेक्शन हो रहा है तब ये दिखाई देता है, एंड इट इज लो एंटीबॉडी प्रोडक्शन. How do they fight with the pathogen? By producing the antibodies. So here low antibody production takes place and mild protection. क्योंकि ये फर्स्ट टाइम है इसीलिए ये थोड़ा सा प्रोटेक्शन देता है, इसीलिए आपका बीमारी जो है उसका सिम्टम्स ज़्यादा दिखाई देता है. बट अगर द सेम पैथोजन enters again into your body, then it shows secondary response. So this occurs when the same pathogen enters the body, enters again. Okay, so then it shows faster because it has memorized, so it is faster in action and it is stronger because already the body is ready for that and produces large amount of antibodies. Okay, and how it is possible? It is due to memory cell. They memorize the response. Okay, so these are the differences between these two, and so you can easily differentiate between these two. Now, what are the cells involved in acquired immunity? Cells involved in acquired immunity. ओके, तो ये तो ऐसे काम नहीं करता, कोई सेल के थ्रू तो काम करता होगा. सो व्हाट आर दोज सेल्स आर, फर्स्ट वन इज बी lymphocyte, or you can say B cells. Okay, so how do they function? They produce antibody into the plasma, the fluid part of the blood. Okay, and so that's why it is known as humoral immunity. So it is known as, it is responsible for humoral immunity. Okay, so here what happens, any pathogen that comes to the plasma, then immediately the B lymphocyte will produce the antibodies, and the antibody will fight against the pathogen. So how it works? It kills the infected cell, or sorry, I'm sorry, not this one. So here what happens, suppose this is the B cell. Okay, so and this is the bloodstream. So when any pathogen, this is the pathogen, when pathogen enters into the plasma means the fluid part or the matrix of the blood, then what happens, it will release the antibodies specific for that. Okay, so these are the antibodies. So these antibodies are released into the plasma, that is the fluid part. That's why it is known as humoral immunity. And now the antibody and antigen reaction will take place, and it will be precipitated. Okay, this is how the B lymphocyte works. Now come to the T lymphocyte. Or T cells. Okay, the T cell, it kills the infected cells, and it also helps the B cell to produce antibodies. Okay, and it is responsible for, very important, responsible for cell mediated immunity, that is CMI. Okay, now here let us see what is antibody. Achha, here one more thing I will tell you, the immunity, that is okay, let me first tell you the antibodies, the structure of a antibody. What are antibodies? The antibodies are special proteins produced by B cells, but not by T cell. Okay, because T cells show cell mediated response and they bind specifically to antigens. Okay, and they neutralize the pathogen so that the pathogen cannot harm the body. Now come to the structure. The structure consists of two heavy chain known as H and two light chain, that is L. Okay, now this heavy chain and light chain, I will show you the diagram. This diagram is very important. You may not be asked to draw the diagram, but you may be asked to label the diagram. Okay, so these two are the light chain. Okay, so this is also light chain, and each one is a fruit, but the complete one is a protein and each one is a polypeptide. Okay, now this polypeptide has some intrachain and interchain disulfide bond. Here you can see disulfide bonds are there. This is interchain, दो different chain के बीच में है, and it also have intrachain disulfide bond. Okay, now here S. So the location of bond is very important, so you have to remember, children. Now this heavy chain and light chain has two regions. It is divided into two regions. Okay, okay, so this is known as variable region, which is very specific for a pathogen, and rest of the region are the constant region. Okay, and here also you will see the intrachain disulfide bond, one in constant region, one in variable region. Okay, so this side also the disulfide bonds. Okay, so this is the structure of a antigen, which is also known as immunoglobulin. Okay, or antigen. I think it is clear to you. Now come to the types of antigen. Types of antibodies. Okay, so what are these antibodies? One is IgG. It is most abundant, very important, most abundant, and it provides long term immunity. Okay, then so next one is IgA, present in saliva, tears and colostrum. IgM, this is the first, very important, first antibody produced. Okay, then IgE. This is released during allergy. Then IgD, that is B cell receptor. Okay, so these type of the different types of immunoglobulins you have to remember, and their role also, and where they are, in which condition they are released. Okay, now come to the types of acquired immunity. The acquired immunity, as I said, it is of two types: humoral and cell mediated. Okay, so humoral, it is mediated by B cell and effective against bacteria. Remember this one: bacteria, viruses, before entering the cell. Because it will release the antibody to the plasma. So when the virus is in the plasma, then only it will act. Then it also releases toxins. Now come to the cell mediated immunity. This is mediated by T cell, and here no antibodies are produced. No antibody production. And it destroys the infected cell. देखो इसमें डिफरेंस क्या है, ये इन्फेक्टेड सेल को डिस्ट्रॉय करता है, लेकिन ये क्या करता है, पैथोजन को डिस्ट्रॉय करता है. ओके, सो अच्छा, यहाँ और एक बात मैं आपको बता देती हूँ. टी सेल एंड बी सेल ऐसा नाम क्यों है? सो बी सेल and T cell. Actually, both of them are produced in the bone marrow. Okay, but this B cell attains maturity and differentiates in the bone marrow itself. Bone marrow में होता है, that's why it is B cell. Now T cell, what happens after production from the bone marrow? It travels up to thymus. Thymus is a endocrine gland present on the chest, and this thymus, in the thymus, it travels up to the thymus and gets differentiated. So that's why they are known as T cells. I think it is clear to you. Now we'll discuss active and passive immunity in the next class, but before that let me tell you something about organ transplantation. Okay, so organ transplantation and immunity. Okay, so before organ transplantation, doctor must check what these are two important things: blood group, compatibility, blood group मैच हो रहा है कि नहीं देखना है, and the next one is tissue matching. This is very, very important. Okay, so why it is required? To reduce रिजेक्शन. देखो, कोई वायरस या बैक्टीरिया इतना छोटा सा ऑर्गेनिज्म अगर बॉडी में आता है तो बॉडी उसको रिजेक्ट कर देता है. तो जब एक ऑर्गन हम किसी दूसरे का ला रहे हैं तो बॉडी उसको बहुत जल्दी रिजेक्ट कर देगा. ओके, इसीलिए हम डॉक्टर्स को ये दोनों चेक करना पड़ता है. एंड उसके बाद ट्रांसप्लांटेशन के बाद द पेशेंट रिसीव इम्यूनो सप्रेसिव ड्रग्स. और ये कब तक लेना है? वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट, थ्रू आउट लाइफ. पूरा लाइफ लॉन्ग इसको लेना पड़ेगा. ठीक है. सो नेक्स्ट क्लास विल डिस्कस एक्टिव एंड पैसिव इम्यूनिटी, देन एड्स एंड कैंसर. ओके, सो फॉर टुडे दिस मच ओनली. बाय बाय, थैंक यू.